Hello friends, this is the part 4, that is the last or the end part of the malaria lecture series, that is the pharmacotherapy of malaria. Here we discuss the different drug regimen in the different type of malaria. So treatment of malaria includes the aim of anti-malarial drug therapy. That is the different types of anti-malarial used in the targeting the different life stages of malarial parasites in the human being, and that will determine the different types of anti-malarial drug therapy. And the last, there is anti-malarial therapy in the special group concern, that is in the pregnancy. So what is the aim of using the antimalarial drugs? The antimalarial drugs either targeted to prevent the clinical attack of malaria, that is known as antimalarial prophylaxis, or to treat the clinical attack of malaria, obvious overt clinical attack, that is a clinical cure. Then the third one is the completely eradication of a parasite from the person's body, that includes the radical cure. And the fourth one is to cut down or the prevent the transmission chain from the human to mosquito, that is the gametocidal therapy. So basically we are going to discuss all the four therapy, that is a prophylactic, clinical, radical cure and gametocidal therapy, one by one. First, we discuss the prophylactic therapy. In the prophylaxis, two types. The one is causal prophylaxis and second is suppressive prophylaxis. First, we discuss the causal prophylaxis. After the mosquito bite, the first stage of a development of a parasite in the human being is liver. So, target of a causal prophylaxis is a pre-erythrocytic phase of a cell which is responsible for the cause of malarial infection and the clinical attack. The drug used for the causal prophylaxis are the primaquine. It is a causal prophylactic for all the species of malaria, but because of a toxicity, it can be given on the individual basis but not suitable for the mass prophylaxis. Proguanil, it is a causal prophylactic only for the P. falciparum, and because rapid development of resistance, it is not used in the India. Atovaquone, the atovaquone is specifically preferred into the Western travelers visiting the malarial endemic region, because it has an action on the pre-erythrocytic stage of the P. falciparum. Its use is not approved in the India. So this is about the causal prophylaxis. Second type of a prophylaxis is the suppressive prophylaxis. The causal prophylaxis is targeted to prevent the development of a liver stage, while suppressive prophylaxis is targeted to prevent the red blood cell development of plasmodia. So erythrocytic schizonticidal drugs suppresses the erythrocytic phase and thereby prevent the attack of malarial fever. Now, who should receive the suppressive prophylaxis? See, out of the four species, the P. vivax and the P. falciparum are the more common. More morbidity and mortality is associated with the P. falciparum malaria. So, in majority cases, the suppressive prophylaxis is indicated for the P. falciparum malaria as well as for the endemic region of the P. falciparum malaria. So, this prophylaxis restricted to the only for the short-term use and only for the special risk people. So who are the special risk? Who peoples are the special risk for developing the malaria? That is the non-immune travelers. The travelers who are the non-immune, they are traveling to the endemic malarial region, or the non-immune person living in the endemic area for a shorter period of a time. For example, there is a posting of army labor forces, so they are residing into the endemic area. There are the chances of development of malaria. And the residential of the endemic region, where certain population are the risk of developing the malaria, that is pregnant women, infant and the children. So these people should receive the suppressive prophylaxis. As I said that suppressive prophylaxis having a more focus toward the P. falciparum malaria, and in the endemic region there are the chances that almost chloroquine resistance is a widespread in the P. falciparum in the endemic region. The drug used is The oldest one is a chloroquine, but because of a development of a faster resistance to the chloroquine, it is no longer employed as a prophylactic therapy in the India. Mefloquine. The mefloquine is preferred for the chloroquine resistance P. falciparum endemic area. It is only for the travelers. The dose should be the 250 milligram once a week. Should be started 1 to 2 weeks before, and it should be continued throughout the stay, and after leaving the endemic area it is continued for the 4 weeks. That is a 1 month of a treatment. Um, in case of India, the mefloquine prophylactic therapy will not allow for the pregnant woman, infant and children. It is only allowed for the travelers. The one point should be cautious about the mefloquine, that there should be a screening of a neuropsychiatric disorders or the cardiovascular problem among the person. They are the contraindicated for the mefloquine therapy. The next is doxycycline. For the same chloroquine resistance P. falciparum, this 100 milligram daily doxycycline should be started before the attending the area, then throughout the stay, and the 4 weeks from the return of the area. The doxycycline is contraindicated for the pregnancy as well as children. So what should prescribe in the pregnancy? In case of a high plasmodial falciparum endemicity, there is a intermittent preventive treatment therapy in the pregnancy is provided. So according to the WHO, what should be given in the IPTP? The single dose of a sulfadoxine, that is a 1500 milligram, plus pyrimethamine 75 milligram, single shot of a drug should be given during the second trimester, and after the 1 month of a gap, in the third trimester, the 2 doses should be given at 1 month of an interval. So this includes the suppressive prophylaxis. Here it is a summary slide. The causal prophylaxis target is liver cell, and pramoquine and the proguanil and atoquine drug is used. And there is no any criteria that who should receive the causal prophylaxis, because the time duration for after mosquito biting, to what the duration there is a time required for the liver stage development, that is not known in any person. So that is the more theoretical. And the suppressive prophylaxis, as we seen in the different, that it is for the short term and special risk population, and the erythrocytic schizontic drugs are used. The next therapy is a clinical cure. Clinical cure, these are the drugs used to terminate the episode of a malarial fever. The clinical symptoms are obvious after the rupture of a red blood cell. So here the target is erythrocytic schizontic drugs, the drug which prevent the development of a schizons during the red blood cell cycle. So drugs, they are highly effective against the schizontic drugs are the highly efficacious drugs, are the first line therapy, that is artemisinin in combination therapy, chloroquine, all the chloroquine quinoline congeners, that is chloroquine, amodiquine, mefloquine, quinine, haloperidol, lumefantrine, as well as atovaquone. While the low efficacious drugs are the proguanil, pyrimethamine, sulfonamides, and the tetracycline. The first preference is given for the highly efficacious drugs. Remember, these drugs having action only on the erythrocytic schizons, they don't have the action on the exoerythrocytic phase. These exoerythrocytic phase particularly exist into the P ovale and the P vivax, and that will later on causes the reinfection of the red blood cell and give rise to the relapse. So these drugs will don't prevent the relapse. This is the flow chart how to proceed for the treatment plan. The malaria is the first to know whether it is uncomplicated or the complicated. Both the things are totally different clinically. Uncomplicated require the oral therapy, and the complicated and severe malaria is required the intensive parenteral therapy. In majority cases, the complicated severe malaria is always by the P. falciparum malaria. Now in the uncomplicated malaria, there is a further which type of a plasmodia is involved in the infection, whether it is a P. vivax or the P. falciparum. Again, the drug of a choice will be the different depending upon their sensitivity to the chloroquine, whether it is a chloroquine sensitive or the chloroquine resistance. And the chloroquine is a drug of choice for the, of course, the sensitive, strain, but where the chloroquine resistance is there, alternative therapy that is effective against the chloroquine resistance P. vivax as well as chloroquine resistance P. falciparum should be given. So basically the treatment regimen depends upon the type of malaria, uncomplicated or complicated, chloroquine sensitive or the chloroquine resistance, depending upon that information will be decided. First we discussed about the P-Vivax malaria treatment, that is uncomplicated cases. The uncomplicated P-Vivax may be the chloroquine sensitive or it may be the chloroquine resistance. In the case of a chloroquine sensitive, but obviously the drug of choice is the chloroquine itself and the 3 days regimen is required. On the day 1, the chloroquine should be given the 600 milligram, that is the 4 tablet strength, or the 10 milligram per kilogram on the weight basis. See, if you remember the dose of chloroquine phosphate, it is available in the form of a total strength, total tablet weight is a 250 milligram, but it contains a 150 milligram base. So 150 milligram base is the 4 tablet will results into the 600 milligram. So first, at the first instance, it should be given the 4 tablet stat loading dose. On the same day, there is a 8 hours later, half dose, that is a 300 milligram, 5 milligram per kilogram, 2 tablets should be given. So on the day 1, total 900 milligram of a chloroquine should be given. On the day 2, followed by the 300 milligram, that is a 500 milligram per kilogram, 2 tablets. And the day 3 remains the same. So total 1500 milligram, or there is a 10, 5, 5 and 5, 25 milligram per kilogram chloroquine should be given. After the 3 days of a chloroquine therapy, for the complete cure, the gametocidal drug should be administered. That is the primaquine. 15 milligrams, that is a 0.25 milligram per kilogram, should be given for the 14 days. So, complete therapy includes the 3 days of a chloroquine followed by 14 days of a primaquine. That is the schizonticidal drugs plus gametocidal drugs will causes the removal of malarial parasite from the blood. Now the next is a chloroquine resistance. In case of a chloroquine resistance, the alternative antimalarial drugs that are effective against the resistant strain that is preferred. Here the duration of regimen is longer, that is a 7 days duration is required. So quinine 600 milligram, 10 milligram per kilogram, 8 hourly, so thrice a day, plus doxycycline 100 milligram daily for the 7 days. Or the quinine should be combined with the clindamycin 600 milligram 12 hourly BD for the 7 days. So here you can see that 7 days therapy, either quinine plus doxycycline or quinine plus clindamycin. So this is about the combination therapy, plus after the 7 days the primaquine 15 milligram or the 0.25 milligram per kilogram 14 days again repeated. So gametocidal drug is common for the both the strain. So this is the older era where this combination is preferred. In the currently, after the discovery of artemisinin, the drug of a choice for the chloroquine resistance P. vivax malaria is artemisinin combination therapy. Except the sulfapyrimethamine combination containing ACT should not be used. This combination is used for the 3 days of a therapy, again followed by the gametocidal drugs for the complete cure, that is the primaquine 15 milligram 0.25 milligram per kilogram for the 14 days. So you can see that in chloroquine sensitive, single drug is required for the 3 days of a therapy. In case of a chloroquine resistance, the combination of 2 drug is required, either quinine combination or there is a artemisinin combination therapy, that is for the 7 days. In both the cases, the schizonticidal phase followed by the gametocidal drug utilization for the complete cure of malaria. Now the second variety is uncomplicated P. falciparum malaria. The regimen remains almost the same in case of a chloroquine sensitive as well as chloroquine resistance. In case of a chloroquine sensitive, the 3 days of a chloroquine followed by the primaquine. Only the change is the primaquine is given for the single dose instead of a 14 days in the P. vivax, and the dose should be higher, that is a 45 milligram, that is a 0.20 instead of a 0.25 there is a 0.75 milligram per kilogram on the second day. So the only change is single dose of a higher dose of a primaquine gametocidal drug. In case of a chloroquine resistance P. falciparum malaria, again like similar to the P5X, that is a quinine plus doxy or quinine plus clindamycin combination, or there is a artemisinin based combination therapy. In case of a ACT therapy, artemether plus lumefantrine in the dose ratio of 1:6, that is the 80 milligram or the 480 milligram, all the 3 days remains the same. In case of a artesunate plus mefloquine, so artesunate throughout the 3 days remains the same dose 100 milligram, and mefloquine on the second day 750 followed by the 500 milligram. When artesunates or sulfur combination, the artesunate is continued for the 300 milligram daily for the 3 days, plus only single dose of a sulfur methoxazole, that is 1500 milligram, plus pyrimethamine 750 milligram single dose. And if you want to use the oral arteriolen combination, that is the 150 milligram plus piperaquine 750 milligram, similar dose regimen for the continue for the 3 days. So these are the various artemisinin based combination therapy. Remember, these are the drugs only given by the oral route because it is an uncomplicated case, and this combination and this dose of the ACT is for the oral treatment of the malaria. Here it is a summary of a treatment of uncomplicated malaria, P5X. The chloroquine sensitive, 3 days chloroquine plus 14 days PQ, P-falciparum, chloroquine sensitive, single drug therapy, 3 days chloroquine plus single high dose of a primaquine. So almost treatment same. Here the only 14 days primaquine, here single dose primaquine. In case of a chloroquine resistance, there is a combination therapy is required. 3 days chloroquine, 3 days quinine plus doxy or quinine plus clindamycin, either of a combination, plus 14 days primaquine. The first line alternative is a 3 days of artemisinin combination therapy. Again, whether it is a P5X or P-falciparum, the chloroquine resistance, the combination therapy, the 7 days of a quinine plus doxy or quinine plus clinda, plus 14 days of a primaquine, or alternative, the first line is the 3 days ACT therapy. Remember, then in uncomplicated malaria, whatever the dosage regimen mentioned in the previous slide, that is for the oral administration. As there is no complication or no severity, so oral administration is possible, and all the dose mentioned in the slide are for the oral route of administration for the treatment of uncomplicated malaria. The next is a severe and complicated P. falciparum malaria treatment. What is a severe and complicated malaria? When P. falciparum infection is attended with one or more the following factors like the hyperparasitemia, hyperpyrexia, fluid and electrolyte balance, acidosis, fall down in the sugar level, cardiovascular collapse, there is a jaundice, liver and splenomegaly, hepatic and splenomegaly, severe anemia, spontaneous bleeding, then acute respiratory distress, pulmonary edema. Sometimes there is excessive breakdown of the hemoglobin that causes the passing of bloods into the urine, that is black water fever, and that leads to the acute renal failure, and there is a disturbances in the cerebral activity, that is a cerebral malaria. So these are the different presentations which indicate the severity of the P. falciparum infection. The cerebral malaria is the most common complication out of that, and it is the reason of a death in the severe P. falciparum malaria. About the 10% of adult death in malaria is due to cerebral malaria. The symptoms is before the actual startup of the symptoms, there is a typical history of 2 to 3 days of the fever and the abrupt onset of a convulsion and the impaired consciousness. Other neurological disease should be ruled out. Other manifestations are the headache, muscle pain, and altered state of a consciousness, and the bruxism, that is the fixed jaw closure and the teeth grinding. So these are the all symptoms indicated the severe malaria. The severe malaria is considered to be a medical emergency and need the parenteral administration of antimalarial drugs, particularly intravenous administration of antimalarial therapy. Now the next is treatment of a severe and complicated falciparum malaria. For the treatment of a severe and complicated cases, it required always the parenteral administration of a drug. Here the regimen for the parenteral artemisinin derivatives. The first one is artesunate. This is the only drug which is given by the intravenous route. Additionally, it can be also given by the intramuscular. So initial dose is a 2.4 milligram per kilogram. After the 12-hour, repeat the same dose. There is a 2.4 milligram per kilogram. So on the first day, 2 doses should be given. Then after every 24 hours, means once a daily should be given. Total therapy duration is the 7 days. In between, from the third day, if it is possible, the patient, if able to take orally or tolerate the oral medication, there is a oral combination therapy should be switched over from the artesunates to oral combination therapy. In case of a pediatric patient, the dose of a artesunate is revised. Instead of a 2.4 milligram, there is a 3 milligram per kilogram should be given parenterally. So that is about artesunate. The next is artemether. The artemether is a drug that is given parenterally only by the intramuscular route. For easy to recall, AMP4 mether, AMP4 intramusculars. It can be given only intramuscular. So on the first day, 3.2 milligram per kilogram. On the second dose is reduced to 1.6 milligram per kilogram. The total duration of artemether therapy is 7 days. After the first 2 days, on the third day, if it is a possible, and patient, the acceptability of the patient to the oral medication or tolerability, then third day should be shifted to the oral artemisinin combination therapy. So this is about the artemether. The last one is arteether. That is a 3 days of a therapy only for the adult. That is a 150 milligram intramuscular injection. Again on the third day, there is a shifting of the patient to the oral artemisinin combination therapy. The artemether is a very slower acting than the artesunates, and it is a very less effective. So it is a least preferred option. See, out of these three, artesunate, artemether and arteether. In the emergency condition, the intravenous route is the only option for the artesunate. So highly efficacious as well as the intravenous administration possible. So artesunate is a drug of a choice for the treatment of a severe complicated falciparum malaria. If it is not available, and then the option is artemether for the intramuscular administration for the treatment of a severe complicated falciparum malaria. Another treatment option for the severe and complicated falciparum malaria is the quinine. Quinine is the oldest therapy. Nowadays it is replaced by the artemisinin combination therapy because of easier administration of dosing schedule as well as tolerability and safety issues. So quinine should be given in the intravenous infusion form. Loading dose 20 milligram per kilogram is diluted in the 10 ml per 5 kg of the 5% dextrose saline solution, and it should be infused over the 4 hour of a duration. After the 4 hour, the dose is reduced to half. That is a maintenance dose, that is a 10 milligram per kilogram. Again, it should be infused over the 4 hour in case of an adult and 2 hours in case of a children. So this infusion interval should be repeated every 8 hours of the interval till the patient is able to take the oral quinine therapy. Once the oral patient is started the oral therapy, then quinine in the routine dose, that is for the oral, that is a 600 milligram thrice a day plus doxycycline 100 milligram daily or the clindamycin twice a day should be continued to complete the 7 days of a therapy. So quinine should be started by intravenous infusion, and as the situation is improved, then they completed rest of the therapy with the oral drugs. So this is about the second regimen for the treatment of a severe and complicated falciparum malaria. Hypoglycemia is the most common side effects of quinine therapy, and that can be prevented by the administration of the 5% dextrose. So apart from anti-malarial measures, the supportive therapies must in this case. Cooling for the fever, then correction of the fluids and electrolyte balance, correction of the acidosis, and sometimes there is a need of anticonvulsant, that is intravenous diazepam for the patient having the convulsion. So this is about the management of a severe and complicated malaria or the cerebral malaria. So here the brief algorithm for the treatment of severe malaria. Parenteral artemisinin therapy is first preferred. If it is available, go for the intravenous artesunates. If it is not available, then intramuscular artemether and followed by the primaquine. If it is not available, then go for a quinine salt initially loading dose followed by the half maintenance dose and later on shift to the oral quinine plus doxy or quinine plus clindamycin therapy for the 7 days. Third type of a treatment modality, that is the radical cure, that is aimed to prevent the relapse. Once again, I am differentiating the two terms, that is recrudescence and relapse. The recrudescence is caused by the residual parasite that results into the exacerbation of a parasitemia that occurs during the clinical attack. There is a persistence of a clinical attack for a longer period. Well, in case of a relapse, the relapse is the occurrence of a reinfection after a 3 to 6 months of a previous infection. This relapse is due to persistence of the exoerythrocytic phase of the parasite, that is also known as a tissue schizonticide or the hypnozoid. After the red blood cell development, few of the schizones converted into the hypnozoid and they survive and escape the drug used for the treatment of malaria. This exoerythrocytic phase exists into the P. vivax and the P. ovale type of the plasmodia. These two cases, there are the chances of relapse. So schizonticidal drugs that clear the clinical cure plus the drug acting on the exoerythrocytic phase will result into the total eradication of the parasite from the human blood. This is known as a radical cure. So what do you understand by radical cure? The drugs acting on the exoerythrocytic phase and prevention of relapse that must be given along with the drug that causes clinical cure. So the radical cure is basically need for the prevention of a relapsing malaria. So it is but obvious that P. vivax is only required the radical cure. In case of a P. falciparum, there is no exoerythrocytic phase, so there is no need of a radical cure. The drug of a choice, that is the primaquine and tafenoquine. This is the only drug in the whole classification having the action on the exoerythrocytic phase. The artemisinin derivatives having just prevent the young gametes to convert into the mature gamete but don't kill completely gamete. The primaquine for the P. vivax, the dose of a primaquine, that is a 15 milligram for the 14 days, that should be administered after the completion of a 3 days of a chloroquine therapy or any other clinical cure therapy. For the P. falciparum, there is a primaquine is given for the 45 milligram a single dose again after the clinical cure. Primaquine is cautious for the G6PD deficient patient. In this patient, if need arises, the higher dose of a primaquine, that is a 0.75 milligram per kilogram, should be given once a week. Such 8 weeks treatment should be given. Here the daily dose of a 0.25 milligram, here it is a 0.75 milligram for the once a week in case of a special risk patient. Alternate therapy nowadays in the pipeline, that is a tafenoquine. The drawback of a primaquine is there is a oxidative nature, there is a hemolysis. So that problem is tried to overcome in the tafenoquine. That tafenoquine having the longest half-life, there is a 10 to 14 days of the half-life. So single dose is a suffices for the anti-relapse therapy, but the drug is under the phase 3 clinical trial. So this is about the radical cure. Now the fourth one is gametocidal drugs. The gametocidal drugs eliminate the male and female gametes of the plasmodia from the patient blood, and they will reduces the transmission from human to mosquito, that break the chain transmission. See, basically by the gametocidal drugs, human having no any advantages, but it prevents the chain transmission. The drug of a choice for the gametocidal drugs, here you can see the pictures of the gamete in the, this is the gamete and this is in the gamete inside the red blood cell. The drug of a choice for the gametocidal drug is the only one, that is a primaquine. The National Vector-Borne Disease Control Program suggested the 45 milligram, that is a 0.75 milligram per kilogram dose after the clinical cure, while the WHO suggested there is a 15 milligram, 0.25 milligram per kilogram single dose immediately after the clinical cure for the mass use. Where there is a need of a mass use, the endemicity area where all the population should receive the single lower dose of a primaquine. The gametocidal drug is also should be continued even after the artemisinin combination therapy, because artemisinin having a just action on the younger gametes that not converted into the mature gamete, but already mature gamete was there, that is not affected by the artemisinin therapy. So gametocidal drug should followed by the artemisinin combination therapy too. Now the last one is the treatment of malaria in the pregnancy. In the pregnancy, we have to differentiate the malaria is due to P. vivax or the P. falciparum. In case of a P. vivax infection, it can be treated with the safely chloroquine throughout all the 3 trimester, but similar to the non-pregnant stat. But the radical cure with primaquine should be withheld till the delivery. No primaquine should be given till the time of a delivery. If need arises, the chloroquine should be given 300 milligram once a week till the time of a delivery. So this is about the management of a P. vivax. In case of a P. falciparum infection, the attack of a P. falciparum malaria during the pregnancy has a serious consequences both for the mother as well as baby. So it should be treated promptly and aggressively. Depending upon the trimester, the drug of a choice will be differ. In the first trimester, the quinine is safe. So quinine should be given the 600 milligram or the 10 milligram per kilogram of a base thrice a day, plus clindamycin 300 milligram or a 20 milligram per kilogram thrice a day for the 7 days. Quinine can also be given second and third trimester, but we have the safer option for the artemisinin combination therapy, that is a better tolerated 3 days, a shorter duration regimen, good safety profile. So we'll prefer the second and third trimester about the artemisinin combination therapy. That is the best one is sulfapul plus pyrimethamine artesunate combination, and other can be also used. The safety of acidity during the first trimester is not prone. So the P-vivax, the drug of choice is chloroquine for all the 3 trimester. In case of a P. falciparum, the first trimester is quinine plus clindamycin 7 days. In second trimester, 3 days of oral therapy of artemisinin combination therapy. So this shows the drug of choice in the different type of infection in the different trimester. So here the ending of a lecture. These are the certain preventive aspects for the prevention of malaria. The prevention is always better than cure, right? Thank you for attention. Have a nice day.